massive Russian war machines that move nuclear missiles through Arctic ice like it's nothing. Here's what most people don't realize. During the Cold War, the battlefield wasn't just Europe. It was Siberia, the Arctic, endless forests, frozen wastelands where roads didn't exist and maps barely helped. And if you can't move, you can't deter. Simple as that. The Soviet military had one massive problem: how to transport tanks, missile systems, and even nuclear hardware across terrain that eats normal trucks alive. So they engineered monsters. These vehicles weren't built for highways. They were built for ice sheets, cratered dirt, deep mud, radiation zones, and snow so thick it swallows tires whole. Everything revolved around torque, durability, and full-time all-wheel drive. Power mattered more than speed. And the wild part? Some of these machines weigh dozens of tons, yet move like they're half that. They look like they're breaking the laws of physics. Because in a way, they kind of were. And this was only the beginning. And this is where things start getting serious. Born right in the heart of the Cold War, the KZKT-7428 wasn't just another army truck, it was a survival tool. Under that long, aggressive hood sat a 14.9-liter V8 diesel pushing out 240 horsepower. That number doesn't sound wild today, but the torque? Enormous. The kind that drags artillery through mud like it's nothing. It ran a tough 5-speed manual transmission paired with permanent 6x6 drive, and those heavy-duty leaf springs were built to take punishment all day. The oversized tires weren't just for looks either. Crews could manually deflate them for extra grip in sand, snow, or swamp. Practical, brutal, effective. It towed howitzers, mobile bridges, and massive trailers. It hauled troops, light tanks, and engineering gear across the Arctic and deep into Ukrainian forests. Some units were even converted into mobile radar and communication platforms without losing balance. And here's the wild part. Decades later, many are still working in rural Russia and Ukraine. One restored unit even became a military-style food truck at a reenactment event. Imagine standing there for the tanks, and everyone staring at the truck instead.
I believe in speed, power, power and speed solves many things.
But this machine carried something even heavier, the weight of nuclear strategy. The MAZ-7310, introduced in 1959, was built not just for transport, but for deterrence. Powered by a massive 38.8-liter 512 diesel producing 525 horsepower, it used a 4-speed automatic and full-time 8x8 drive to move enormous loads across brutal terrain. Over 9 meters long and weighing more than 21 tons, it could haul 50-ton tanks and missile systems. It even helped during the Chernobyl cleanup. Decades later, some still work in mining and heavy construction. Here's where it gets even stranger. The ZIL E-167 wasn't built for war zones. It was built for places that barely feel like Earth. Designed for extreme Arctic exploration, this machine looked like something pulled from a secret lab. 7 meters long, about 3 meters tall, sitting on 6-foot tires that made everything around it look small. And it didn't rely on one engine. It had two 7-liter V8 gasoline engines working together, delivering a combined 360 horsepower. That twin setup gave it synchronized traction that most vehicles could only dream of. It ran a manual transmission with torque-optimized gears built for slow, controlled power. With a 6x6 drive and elevated suspension, it could cross 1.5 meters of snow without flinching. The buoyant frame even allowed it to partially float through swamps and frozen marshland. It helped build Siberian bases and communication towers in regions where no wheeled vehicle could survive. At one point, it was even considered for a Soviet lunar exploration project. But it was too complex, too ambitious. Mass production never happened.
Замыкающее это. На ее базе устанавливаются ракеты тактического назначения и разные другие вооружения. А теперь прошу вас снять всю автоколонну.
And then the 1990s hit, and Russia needed something bigger, stronger, smarter. The KZKT-7428 emerged in a modernization drive to replace aging Soviet transporters. Powered by a 46.2-liter VIS-12 diesel delivering 650 horsepower and paired with an 8-speed automatic with hydraulic support, it handled crushing loads smoothly. Its 8x8 drivetrain, independent suspension, and central tire pressure system mastered harsh terrain. Over 11 meters long and lightly armored, it hauled Smerch rockets, tanks, and heavy cargo worldwide with remarkable durability and low failure rates. When you build something to survive anything, people notice. And this is where size meets strategy. The MAZ-7310 was developed in the 1970s to carry massive missile payloads across brutal terrain. Its 38.8-liter V12 diesel produced 525 horsepower, hauling up to 65 tons through a 4-speed automatic and 8x8 drivetrain. Built with rugged suspension and individual tire pressure control, it mastered mud and snow. Often used for Scud launchers, it still operates in Siberia, proving its lasting strength and reliability. Imagine a rolling fortress of steel, carrying strategic firepower across frozen wastelands. That's the MAZ-7310. Now it gets tactical. The 9K714 Oka emerged in the 1980s during the height of Cold War tensions. This mobile missile system was compact but lethal, powered by a 650 horsepower V12 diesel with an automatic transmission. Full-time 6x6 drive and independent suspension gave it agility over forests, trenches, and uneven ground. No obstacle was too harsh. Its low-profile design and camouflage made it incredibly hard to spot from the air, giving the Soviet Union a rapid strike advantage. The missile it carried had a 400-kilometer range, enough to hit high-value targets across neighboring countries. And its real strength? Mobility. The Oka could fire, relocate, and vanish before anyone could respond, making NATO forces nervous across Europe. Officially retired under US-Soviet arms reduction agreements, some units continued secret testing into the late 1990s. Today, a few are preserved in military museums, though most were dismantled to prevent reuse. It was small, fast, and deadly, proof that in missile warfare, mobility can be just as important as raw firepower. Now we leap into the modern era with the MAZ-7310, built for Russia's latest military doctrine. Powered by a 1,500 horsepower Vi-12 diesel and an 8-speed automatic transmission, it uses intelligent torque management to optimize power during heavy missions. Its 16x16 drivetrain drives all wheels, while hydropneumatic suspension keeps the massive vehicle stable on rough terrain. Over 20 meters long, it's designed to carry systems like the RS-24 ICBM. With modular equipment options and a reinforced cab, the MAZ-7310 serves as a powerful mobile strategic platform, gradually replacing older MAZ missile carriers in Russia's arsenal. Finally, here's the one that thrives where nothing else can. The Vityaz DT-30PM is an articulated tracked vehicle built for the brutal Arctic. Its V12 diesel engine delivers 710 horsepower, split between two articulated modules. The front module handles the cab and propulsion, while the rear carries up to 30 tons of cargo. Unlike conventional trucks, it rides on continuous tracks, not wheels, allowing it to cross frozen lakes, deep snow, or swampy terrain with ease. Its suspension combines torsion bars and hydraulic elements, keeping the vehicle stable even over uneven ground. Flexible articulation between the two modules gives it a train-like adaptability over treacherous landscapes. At 16 meters long, it has a striking presence, yet its true value is functional. Russian military forces use it for Arctic missions, including transporting supplies, weapons, and electronics, as well as installing communication towers in otherwise inaccessible regions. Temperatures below -50 degrees Celsius? No problem. The Vityaz DT-30PM isn't just big, it's engineered to dominate an environment that would immobilize any ordinary vehicle. It's pure Arctic power on tracks. And now, the ultimate Soviet giant. The MAZ-7310 was a classified 1980s project designed to carry massive ballistic missiles. Powered by a 1,250 horsepower gas turbine, it used electric motors on each of its 24 wheels across 12 axles. An advanced suspension and load leveling system kept the 150-ton vehicle stable on rough terrain. Stretching 28 meters long, it produced a distinctive metallic hum during tests at secret military sites. Despite its engineering brilliance, it never entered mass production. Only one prototype survives today, preserved as a remarkable example of Soviet ambition and extreme military engineering. These machines aren't just trucks, they're engineering extremes, blending power, strategy, and nuclear deterrence. Which one surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this dive into Russia's largest military vehicles, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned. New videos drop weekly.